Hi guys, this is jsn1.com and I'm here with the unboxing of the Huawei Nova 9 SE. So after having unboxed and reviewed the Nova 9, it's time for a sort of light version but with an upgrade. It's the very first Huawei phone which sports a 108 megapixel back camera. It has a gorgeous looking back side, that is if you like reflections a lot, especially ones shaped like I would say a radius or a concentric circle, and of course a mirror finish. The camera design resembles the one of the Huawei Nova 9 and partly the one of the Huawei P50, shaped like two human eyes. Now I'm going to fire up the device, tell you what's inside the box and see what this device has to offer. It's priced at around $400, it's a mid-range handset and it was launched earlier this year. Now we're dealing here with a handset with a Snapdragon 680 4G CPU, a rather large 6.78 inch screen, 90 Hz refresh rate, 66 watt charging, which may be a bit of a selling point, and at the same time a quad camera at the back. Runs on eMotion UI 12 and comes in colors like black, white or blue. You can obviously guess this is blue with a tint of purple when it catches the light in a certain manner. Okay, so it's already been set up and now let's see what's inside the box. Okay, so Huawei Nova 9 SE, I'm going to have to do some digging. I suppose that SE stands for Special Edition, but who knows these days. Now, in the box, you can find this key used to access the slots. And when I say slots in this case, I also mean micro SD, which is a good piece of news. Here's the case, flexible, transparent, keeping the beautiful backside in sight. And finally a cable which goes from USB-C to USB-A and it connects to this generous charger. It's a 66 watt supercharge capable charger with an USB-A connector, and it says here Huawei Supercharge 66 watts. This trend was started, if I remember correctly, by the Huawei Mate 40 Pro. That was the first one with such a charge, unless I'm mistaken. And well, that's about it as far as the accessories are concerned. There should also be a manual here. However, we only have a test version of the phone, not the final one. You should definitely get warranty manual and other such things. Okay, now let's focus on the handset. So, things to mention here. This is a polycarbonate, this is plastic, but it's shaped to look like glass. It's very glossy and draws a bit of fingerprints and grease, so it's best you protect it with the case. We also have plastic for the frame, and in here you can see the flat power button which hosts the fingerprint scanner, and the slightly protruding back camera is shown here. At the front side we have the screen, the one I mentioned before, with a rather generous resolution, and I see that a plastic protection for the screen has been applied from the factory. The frame is rather flat, leaving you enough room to properly grip the device, measures 7.9 mm in thickness and weighs a decent 191 grams. In spite of being, I would say, rather curved here for this panel, while the one at the front is flat, the device is not slippery, just in case you were wondering or worrying about that. Now the screen I keep playing with, this one, is an IPS LCD, 6.78 inches in diagonal and a resolution of 2388 over 1080 pixels. It's got the whole 90 Hz refresh rating for the gamers and a rather generous screen to body ratio, 89.5. Some of the narrowest bezels I've seen on a mid-range phone lately. Now if you want to talk about the CPU, we should have an app for that. So let's see it here, or you can actually dig into the settings and see what's what. It says here Qualcomm Snapdragon 680, the 4G CPU, 6nm octa-core with the Adreno 610 GPU. It's accompanied by 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. If this processor is familiar to you, it's no wonder. We've seen it recently on the Realme 9 4G, Redmi Note 11 and the Oppo A76. There's also a microSD card slot, that's the good news, and the other good news is that the battery charges fast, but we're dealing here with a 4000 mAh battery. We expected a bit more than 4000 mAh to be honest here, especially for such a large diagonal. The setup we have here for the connectivity side of things involves dual SIM, nano SIMs, and other than that, you can see here that we've got the SIM tray. This is a microphone hole. This is an interesting placement here. I think it could end up being the earpiece, oddly enough, placed at the top. Interesting choice. I don't see any cutout for it here, unless they separated the speakers. We have a bottom speaker here for music, USB-C port, and a microphone. We also have, on the connectivity side of things, USB-C 2.0, Wi-Fi dual band. There's also Bluetooth 5.0, as I said before, GPS, AGPS, GLONASS, Galileo, BDS, and QZSS, and NFC for your payment needs, but you're going to have to rely on the app called Curve to make payments happen via NFC. Now, this punch hole here at the front side, it's meant to host a 16 megapixel shooter which films in full HD, just so you know. And when it comes to the back camera, we have a pretty interesting setup. It's a quad one. The main sensor is the 108 megapixel camera with face detection, autofocus, and f1.9 aperture. There's an ultra wide 8 megapixel camera, and these two little fellows from here, 2 megapixel macro, 2 megapixel bokeh. There's also the LED flash right between them here. Now, a quick glance at the camera options. We should have basically the same package of options as the Huawei Nova 9. I see time-lapse, I see dual view. It happens for both photo and video. Panorama, super macro, pro, stickers, high resolution, video. Let's see video here. You can only shoot in full HD. There's no love for 4K this time around, sadly. And frame rate can be set to only 30 frames per second. Assistive grid, mute, ultra snapshot, horizontal leveler are some of the other options. This is the photo department. You can also use extra AI features to help you with your capture needs, and a bunch of filters here which are actually pretty nice. Then there is a portrait mode, and you also have some beautification options. There's a night mode, and there's the aperture, which is basically what I like to call portrait for objects. That's sort of a nickname I'm using for it. Now, aside from that, you should also know that in some countries the phone is bundled with a special offer which involves the 12 months of warranty, premium warranty for the screen, in Europe at least. Now, I'm pretty curious about the OS. It's obviously Android, but let's see which version. So it's Emotion UI 12.0.1, as you can see here. It's applied on top of Android, but we're not pretty sure which one. Okay, so it's most likely Android 11, as I said before. And as usual, it has some extras, especially that device plus thing, which makes it easier to connect to other devices. You can see here FreeBuds 3, other types of FreeBuds, all sorts of tablets, laptops, and so forth. Basically keeps the whole ecosystem from Huawei glued together properly. Now, aside from that, we don't have the Google Play Store or the Google services. We do have the app gallery, which now includes, as far as I've heard, hundreds of thousands of apps. It went past the tens of thousands into the hundreds of thousands, and that's quite nice. And we also have Petal Search here to replace Google Search. It includes a nearby section. It includes the core Petal area, shopping section, your very own profile and history and so forth. And you can also see flights from here and news. We also have a video player and music player and books where you can actually download and buy books. Then there's Petal Maps, which is 1 year old, and it also allows you to use a discount and order Bolt rides from here, which is quite nice if you want to commute easily and more efficiently. We also have the health application, the gallery application, Notepad. This is Curve for payments, this is Bolt for your ride sharing needs, and so much more. And here you have the I would say core work apps. And honestly, this is the first time I'm seeing the Huawei Notes app. Haven't noticed this one before. Either I missed it or didn't pay enough attention to it. I see it has options for documents, presentations, spreadsheets, or memo, plus an image scanner. Syncs with the cloud and has your own profile. That's quite nice to see. We also have some top apps installed here, including Office, Bing, and Trip.com. Okay. And a bunch of tools here, including weather, calculator, find device, mirror, and SIM toolkit. In a nutshell, that's pretty much it. The phone feels pretty trendy looking at the backside and has a lot of promise with the main camera. I look forward to see what it can offer, especially the main sensor, also the ultra-wide camera, and I'm curious about the battery. It worries me to see such a capacity, but at least this charges pretty fast. That's it from gsn.com. We'll be back with a full review pretty soon. Goodbye.